Alright, here we are today. We're going to be going through and opening this pre-release pack of Zendikar Rising. And I'm going to give you some tips about how to build a deck and what to be looking for when you are playing in your local pre-release. So let's give this a shot. Every pre-release pack you're going to get is going to come with one of these to help you out, provided by Wizards with some deck building tips. And also, it's always going to come with this free arena code if you play arena, and it's going to come with a promo and 6 packs. So the first thing you really want to do is open all your packs and don't be wowed by all the cards you got. It's very important, it's very quick. You want to be able to look objectively at everything you've got going on and be able to choose what you want. So let's get these packs open. You're going to want to organize them by color because for me that makes it a lot easier. It might not make it a lot easier for you, but whatever way you need to organize your cards to make it easier for you to tell what could be playable and what could be good, you need to do that. Got our multicolor cards, our Relic Golem, the Coom Warrior, and it looks like we got a really cool alternate art Jace. So if we are playing blue, we'll probably be putting that guy in our deck, but we'll see. The big thing is don't get caught up if you open a Planeswalker. Sometimes they're really good, and sometimes they're okay, but you never know. This might be a good one for us. Get rid of the Strike token. We have a land. And our rare is Relic Robber. So it's a good red card. A Skyclave. So what you're going to be looking for while you're going through your cards is the color that has the most removal spells and has cards on curve. Now there are exceptions to that you can do very powerful things with different specific individual cards that you might be able to find consistently, but for the most part you're going to want to be able to be playing things every turn, drawing some additional cards, and killing your opponent's creatures. So you don't really want to play any of the decks that don't have like removal in them. That won't be very helpful for you. So we got ourselves a Skyclave Relic. So far we have the most red cards, and it's starting to look pretty strong, even though we don't have any rares in it. Our tokens and lands. Foil Cinderclasm and a Kiri. Okay. Oh, that doesn't go there. There. One. We got a Maul of the Skyclaves go with our Kiri. Red White's looking a little better and better all the time. But that is not a complete clear decision. We'll make our decision once we've actually looked at everything, how many copies, and what support cards we have. We might not play Jace, which is okay. Jace is just alright. The Seagate Restoration. This card's good, but not enough that I think I'm gonna need to be playing it in limited today. A Ravager's Mace, Morfolk Wind Robber, and into the Royal. We'll take a look at our blue as well. It's not that it is impossible that it is good. So, we have all our stuff. Now we're going to move on to the next phase. We're going to remove these lands. I'm going to put this Jace in our blue pile. We're going to look at each color individually very quickly, just to see what we have going on. So, we will start with blue because, well, we have cool Planeswalker in blue. Alright. So our blue cards here, we have our pre-release promo, which is Coral Helm Chronicler. And whenever you kick a spell, cast a kick spell, draw a card, discard a card, and you can find kicker spells. So for example, I can find ourselves our Jace, which is pretty cool. You always want to see how many creatures and removal spells you have compared to anything else. So we have some bounce spells in Into the Royal. We have like a good draw spell. This guy is kicker, so if we're going to play this guy, we'll probably end up playing him, even though I don't think he's very good. We have 2 Merfolk Wind Robbers, which is very strong. Bubble Snare, 2 Chilling Traps. Actually, 3 Bubble Snares. Anti-Cognition, Field Research. Alright, so the issue with blue here is that we have 6 total creatures. And in your deck, you're always going to want to be actively doing something. And while I like the Into the Royals and the Bubble Snares, and even the Jace and the Merfolk Wind Robbers, I don't think there's enough support here to do anything with it. I could be wrong, but this, personally, I would not play this portion of my pool. So let's take a look at a second color. We'll go ahead and put blue over here, and we'll take a look at black. Black feels like we might not have enough creatures once again for it, but we do have 3 Deadly Alliance. So there is a world where we end up splashing to play Deadly Alliance. And what splashing means, if you're new to pre-release, it means that you're taking a card of a color that is not of your main 2 colors, and you're adding a couple lands to your deck, normally swamps or things of that nature, or if you have a multicolor card, you can add that, so that you can play a card that costs 1 or 2 of a color in your deck, making it effectively 3 colors, but you don't need the 3rd color all the time. This card's very good, and I will probably end up splashing it, especially if I end up with a good base of cards for another color combination that doesn't have good removal spells. The fact that you're almost always going to have party cards in your deck means that this will cost less and less almost every game. It's a very good removal spell for that exact reason, so it's totally worth splashing. So we'll come back to these guys. But as we see, we have 4 creatures, but we do have good black removal, so we'll see if we can make use of that in the final build of our deck. Let's go to green. Stomper and Adventurer. This is a removal spell. Reach guy. Oh, I missed one. This is a Raise Dead. A pump spell. Cares about landfall. Removal. Removal. Alright. I mean, our green creatures aren't very bad. They're actually pretty good. Nothing in here is anything to write home about particularly. We have like Rolling Regrowth, but we have no landfall, and we have Kandandu Stomper, which is very good landfall, no landfall. We do have some Elf Rogues and some Troll Warriors and things to go with Veteran Adventurer, and Kalani Ambush is good, but it's much better in a landfall deck where sometimes it's going to be bigger and it's going to fight a guy, but it's not going to do that. Green looks okay, but there's nothing to write home about. If we need to fill out our curve and green fits, maybe we'll play it, but for the most part, I don't think that it's going to be the strongest color combination. Well, let's do red, because I felt like it was strong when we started, but it could have another major issue that we haven't discussed quite yet, which is the issue of curve. It doesn't look like we're going to have that issue at all, which is awesome, because we got an actual decent curve and good removal spells in red. So we're probably going to play red. Got some equipment to go with that red-white Akiri we opened. A good removal spell. This spell that steals a guy and or becomes a land if you needed to, and then like another good removal spell. And then Cinder Clasm in case we need to clear a bunch of small guys. And we got like a small warrior theme here with this guy that cares about how many warriors you have. So when it attacks, target creature with power less than the number of warriors you have can't block. That's really powerful, especially when our deck has 7 warriors in just the red colors. But I think we should take a look at white, because I'm pretty sure this is the color that is going to be going with the rest of our sealed deck. As a general rule in sealed, you want to have 2 colors, just because it'll make it easier on you. You normally will never open enough of one color to make a full 40 card deck, including lands. And you always want to be looking for a curve and things of that nature. So in this one, we have some creatures, we have some removal spells, we have this awesome equipment that we really are going to enjoy. We have a pressure point, have more warriors to go with it. And we looks like we have some of these mice that say when you landfall, your guys get bigger for the turn, which is also very strong. I very much so like the white. It's small enough with a bunch of potentially strong cards that we could make a run on a red-white deck, so that's what we're going to try to build. But just before we do that, let's go over our multicolored cards and things of that nature. So a big draw to that for me was this guy, Akiri Fearless Warrior. So he's a 3/3 for 3, and whenever you attack a player with one or more equipped creatures, you draw a card. We have a lot of good equipment. He also allows you to pay white to attach an equipment to a creature and make it indestructible. So the more equipment we have, he does tap them, so you can't do it before you attack. But if they try to kill it on their turn, suddenly this card just prevents your opponent from being able to destroy your creatures as long as you have an equipment in play and you have white mana. So this is a big reason that I thought that we should play red-white. Ravager's Mace is awesome. If we end up splashing those black removal spells, maybe we'll consider playing it because it's a good equipment. We didn't open enough rogues, or this card would be amazing. We have a few more equipment that could be good that we might play because we opened an Akiri to go with our equipment. And so, well, you know, let's just do that. We're going to do that. That's definitely what we're doing. We have like 4 equipments here and 2 red ones and a rare white one and an Akiri. And honestly, we don't have enough creatures in any other color to make anything else. But we are probably going to splash our black removal spell because we got a Skyclave relic and we can. Because sometimes we're going to kick this for 6 mana and have access to 3 black mana. And we're going to play 1 or 2 swamps to cast our removal spells because we have enough party members to make it cost less. And I think that's what we're going to do. So let's put that deck together. So I always like to lay out all of my cards in converted mana cost for creatures and converted mana cost for spells up here. And we're going to move the rest of these cards off to the side because we will not be needing them for the rest of our deck building process. So we have our Maul of the Skyclaves, we have our Smite the Monstrous, our Pressure Point, and we have our Skyclave Relic. Whether we play all of these, I'm not sure, but I'm positive we're going to be playing a Relic Axe because we are playing Warriors. And then the Cliffhaven's Kite Sails probably will make it because none of our guys have flying. This one's a little bit weaker on that side. If we're going to pay 3 mana for something, we get +2/+0, +1/+1 from the red cards. So we're probably going to go with that. Sizzling Barrage, while being situational, is very efficient at how it kills creatures, so we're probably going to play that. I like this card. It becomes a land when you need it to be, and it can steal their best bomb, their biggest creature, and hit them with it. Once again, I like this card slightly better than I like Utility Knife. +2/+0 is a big deal, and it attaches for free, so we're going to give this guy a try. And then we'll see if we have too many equipment in our deck. We have our 6-drop warrior that can become a land if need be, so he's a decent finisher, plus that. We have our warrior that can gain haste at 6 mana, which can be a very big thing. Spitfire Legak. Not sure if I'm going to end up playing this card, but it is a 3/4, and it does deal damage, and so I guess we will see. We're definitely playing our Relic Robber. We'll put our Akoum Hound, and then we'll do these. I don't think we're going to play either of these, so we'll put them off to the side for now. Let's see how many cards we have. So, as a general rule, you're going to want about 23 to 24 cards, because you're going to want to play 17 to 23 cards for 17 lands, 16 cards. For 16 lands, you want to play 24 cards. I have a tendency to play 16 land decks, but in the case of Zendikar, with cards that have landfall and cards that can become lands, so I think 16 lands is very good if you're going to be playing some of those kinds of cards. But if your deck has a lot of landfall or something of the sort, there's a chance that you probably might want to be playing more, so always be looking out for that. But the average is about 17 or 16 lands in your sealed deck. You want to keep it as close to 40 cards as you can, just because it'll help you draw the powerful cards in your deck more consistently. So we're going to try to trim this pile of basically all of our red and white cards down to 23 cards, and then see if we feel that we would like to remove any of our removal or any creatures that we don't feel are very good from our decks to add the black spells as a splash. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this dog. I'm not really a landfall deck. It's a good card, but we have 2 other warriors that are 1-drops, so if we want to play those, we want 1-drops, we can do that. So I'm going to go with that for now. I'm going to cut these Legaks for now. I don't know if they're actually better than the Kabaya Outriders. They quite possibly are, so it's going to be one of these 2 that gets cut. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think it's going to probably be this guy, actually. So we're going to 4 and then 5 here. I like all of these. We have a decent amount of landfall, but our landfall cards do something very big later instead of being like a Akoum Hound where you really just want to play it on 1 and then it gets in some extra damage and then it falls off pretty quickly. We have a bunch of guys on 2, which is important. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 18 creatures here. It's a lot of creatures, so we'll probably cut a few. We know for a fact we're going to be playing Maul of the Skyclaves. We're going to be playing Relic Axe. Now we just need to decide which other equipment we would like to play with our Akiri. I think these Cliffhaven Kite Sails are going to be very important, and I think we'll probably play 1 Scavenged Blade, which is 5 equipment, which is quite a bit, but I don't think that it is actually wrong with the fact that we have Akiri in our deck, and these cards will replace themselves by drawing cards when he is in play. Also, they just grant flying and things of that nature. We might end up cutting a Cliffhaven Kite Sail just to have 1 less card to add a card to it, but for now I think we're okay. We're going to play our Relic because I really do want to splash these black cards from it. Deadly Alliance is very good. It can kill anything, and we have plenty of party members. We've got clerics and warriors and clerics, and we only have 1 rogue, but I think we can make do with this costing on average 3 or 4 mana in limited. So let's go ahead and add this here. Because to be honest, besides Sizzling Barrage and this, I don't like Smite the Monsters all that much. There's normally a lot of middle or smaller creatures that you want to kill, and if you can splash one that just can hit any creature, you will be in a better position. So we are well over 23 cards because we had 18 creatures. So now we're going to have to decide what we're going to cut from our deck. So far these creatures are good, but this guy is just a 3/1. While he's a warrior and a core, we don't really have anything else going for him except for him being a 3/1. So I think we're going to set this guy to the side for now. Our 3-drops are pretty good. I like this mouse. It pumps your whole board. I'm not sure how good it is in this deck, but we have a lot of creatures, so it's probably going to be okay. But he might come down to being cut a little bit. So then we have our Scorch Riders and our Spitfire Legax to get our extra damage in, and we have our big guy. So let's move up here to our removal spells. I think we are going to cut one of the Cliffhaven Kite Sails just because we have too many equipment, and we might run into a problem there. So this deals 4 damage to target creature, and then on average probably deals 2 damage to that creature's controller because we don't have a plethora of different creature types, of different party types. So we're probably going to cut this because as long as we play some swamps, this card will, on average, probably be a better thing for us. So we have 3 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Because this card is very good, but it's a cheap removal, so we probably want it. So 27. Like I said, I like to play 16 lands, so I need to cut 3 cards from my deck, and then we'll be done building our deck for the day. So I like lots of creatures a lot, which is probably a good thing. Having lots of creatures is, as a general rule, going to be very powerful. But in this situation, I think it's one of the creatures that needs to go, and not one of the spells. Maybe it is one of the spells. So let us cut one of our Deadly Alliances. If we need more, we can bring one in after sideboard. We have our removal spells here. This steals a guy for a turn and can be a land. This helps us splash, and then these are our equipment, which I very much so actually like off the equipment, which is normally where I would cut in a normal set. Let's cut these mice. They could be good, but I think being a 1/2 for 3, they might not be the best. There are lots of decks where this card's going to be very good, and this one probably is very close to being one of those. I'm just not 100%. Also remember that you can edit your deck at pre-release between rounds, so if you find that a card you took out during deck construction would be better in your deck, you can always fix it. So in that case, I think I'm going to cut these for now because they're on the smaller side and they don't help any of my party mechanic cards, which is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 7, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I'm going to play 16 lands in my deck because I have 3 cards in my deck that can also become lands. So I technically have access to 19 lands while also having access to cards that are playable. That is very important in Zendikar Rising pre-release. Do not sleep on the cards that can turn into lands. They are going to be, on average, a little bit better than you probably think, especially if you have landfall cards, but also because They will allow you to play 16 land decks, or even 15 if you have a lot of them on the same colors, that you will still have access to lands in your deck while getting access to additional spells. Just make sure that they're spells that you want to cast. So, and with that, I'll lay out the deck for you. And we'll put them and we'll just put them out here in mana cost so that you can take a look at it. And there we go. This is definitely a deck that I would put together and play at pre-release. So go ahead and go to your local pre-release. If you're in the Dayton area, come on down to the Game Haven. We're running them all week. And I hope you have a great day.